Two bald guys and a microphone. Coach, I don't know if I can hear myself. We have to see if this is feeling good here. Can you hear me?
I can. Hello, test.
Yeah, you good?
I gotcha. You might have to turn your volume up just a little bit. Good morning.
Maybe it's
Tim Stewart, Coach Papa here with Deke Jones at WHIWLP 101.3 FM out of Harvard, Illinois. What a beautiful day.
Gorgeous day. There I am. I don't know where I was for a
You were
minute.
right there the whole time. I can see you.
Yeah, very good.
And you can see us on Facebook, too,
it.
facebook.com/2bald, the number 2 bald, because you can never be too bald. We are live streaming at this time. It's going to be a second late. Something was going on when I first hit go live. It didn't want to go live.
And today we are talking about, on October 17th, confidence.
Confidence. I wasn't sure if confidence was going to be the right topic for the day, but eventually it just settled in on me.
Well, and then oddly enough, not being able to hear myself in my own headphones, I was very confident that I was doing it correctly.
It's amazing, and these are some of the things we're going to talk about, of how many things can affect your confidence. From the inside, I believe, I think I can. What's wrong with you, you dummy? All right, these voices play from the outside sometimes that really affect our confidence.
Yeah.
Our guest today is Sean Grimes. Sean isn't in studio yet, but he's on the way in. Sean is a former athlete of mine. Served a couple of tours in Iraq, Middle East. Had a few incidents that we'll talk about, and just what he has done to overcome some major challenges in his life.
Is that the guy standing at the door right now?
That is the guy. Sean, come on in.
Come on in, Sean. Look at that. Man, this guy's got a face for radio, too. Sean, good to see you.
Welcome,
Fantastic.
Deke, Sean Deeks. First time they have met in person.
That's it. Good week for you, Coach?
Was a good week. We had accomplished a lot of very cool things throughout the course of the week. The games this weekend, the kids absolutely played the best soccer that they have played since we've been together. One of our teams who hadn't won a game yet won their first game, and really the confidence. It was kind of funny. My granddaughter's on that team, and she kind of mentioned, she said, "Papa, did you see at the end of the game we didn't know what to do?" They were. It was like they won, but they didn't always have the confidence that they were going to win. And today or yesterday brought them a lot of confidence. And then on Sunday, we spent the entire day walking around Great America. Thank you very much.
Fright Fest?
Fright Fest.
Was it frightening?
Not really. The grandchildren, there were some things that were pretty cool, but they, they bring in the live actors
Right.
At 6 o'clock, and one of my grandsons was like, "No, thank you." And so my wife, April, hello, April, good morning. I know you're driving to work this morning. Just want to say I loved you first on the radio.
But she already won. She already won.
We have a contest every morning. Whoever calls each other first gets to say I loved you first. So she did call me first this morning. But he made the choice not to be there for the actors, and so that worked out in my favor because I didn't have to stand around with a bunch of goofballs running around with chainsaws and stuff.
Nice. That is nice.
Good morning, Sean. As you're here, you have to almost bite this thing.
Understood.
So we welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
How was the trip in?
It's a long drive. Definitely a long drive.
Through the country. You didn't hear banjos or anything.
It was quite pleasant. There was no one else on the road. So.
Yeah, that is good. We got you a cup of coffee. Didn't know how you take it, brother, so
Thank you.
it's yours. Enjoy. Excited to have you here. Thank you for your service.
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fun, and just jump in at any time. Don't sit there and be quiet, and you have a good time. My week, absolutely blessed, fantastic week. Besides just being blessed with the family and good things at home, it was a good week at work because it was a quick week. Had Monday off. Anytime that you can have an extra day off at the job, it's always a good thing. And we kept working on the closet. Sean, 2 weeks ago, or last week, I guess, my wife wanted to build a closet in our basement. We're remodeling the basement, so she was getting ready for that. I started tearing down a retaining wall outside. So we tore that down and created like planter boxes. And people drive by, go, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "We're building a closet." So, so yesterday, of course, because I have extreme confidence in myself, instead of getting rid of all that dirt when it was dry and easy to move in a wheelbarrow, I decided to do it after the thunderstorm on Sunday morning there and move heavy, wet sludge mud, slipping and sliding everywhere.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Challenge. We love a challenge.
And of course, last weekend it was absolutely beautiful, right? So I mean, it was a perfect weather. This was a little bit humid and sticky, so I was sweating like a guy on the chain gang moving that mud. It was
Working
wonderful.
on a chain gang.
Today it's going to be nice out and 80.
That's right. That's right. And I get to sit in an office today, which is fantastic.
From a soccer coaching perspective, this has been one of the warmest falls I can remember in over 30 years of coaching.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a good sign or a bad sign for a hard winter?
It's just weather.
Winter.
Live in Illinois, anything's
That-
unpredictable, you know.
That's it.
Stick
That's
around
it.
5 minutes, it'll change.
That's it. So yeah, we got a great show today. We're talking about confidence. We've got attitude of gratitude coming up as we always do here in a few minutes. The riddle of the week will be rolling in. Did anybody? Oh yeah, our good friend Tom Sellers again, another winner. He is. Can somebody dethrone? Is that a word? Dethrone? Unthrone? Take the throne away? What? I don't,
Kick his butt.
kick his butt this week and see if we can get it. And then rolling in at 6:45, we've got X's and O's, youth sports topics and focus, not necessarily on the youth, but always on the sport. And then we're going to recap the first hour. And the good news is, with some feedback from the listeners and whatnot, we're going to Rancher Ron's going to be joining us. He'll be doing his segment, Rancher Ron. But we're going to bring him in a little bit early. We'll bring him in right after the reboot.
The reboot.
Yeah.
Now, we've got Ted Mosley, Tom Sellers, Phil Nasarino have all checked in and said hi. Good morning, guys.
That is good
So,
morning.
Phil, Ted, we are challenging you to beat Tom on the riddle of the week.
That's it. And Ted, we should call him on the phone and get him or Skype him in. Ted's daughter is a heck of a softball player, and Ted does some coaching and things too. I think from what I follow on Facebook with him, and he's probably got some good insight into some of our X's and O's as well. Or he can just chat with us, on Facebook Live. Then we'll get into a little bit of your story, which will be great in the second hour. Which if y'all are going to be blown away. Right? I mean, it's a heck of a story. And talk about confidence. Wow.
That's a big amen. And Sean reached out to me about 7-8 months ago on Facebook, and he said, "Are you a life coach?" And again, we've been together off and on for a number of years, so I've kind
Depends
of
what day it is.
yeah, for years. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing today. What's going on? It's like, could we have coffee? And you know somebody, but when you're not there for a big gap in their lives, and they come back in and you find out what's been going on in that gap, you're like, whoa, I'm glad we're sitting here having coffee this morning.
Which is going to be a blast. Just a really, from what coaches told me, and I want to get to know you a little bit better as well, but just the story, just it'll take your breath away. It's a really, really cool story. Then we'll, as we wrap up, we'll do our technicals, timeouts, and the answer is no. And then we'll set you out on your week. We're glad you're joining us on Monday morning. We want to bring a little fun, a little happiness to your week. We want you guys to give you some bullets that if you run into a hurdle or something of that nature, you know, you can get through it. And most of all, though, absolutely no politics.
None.
None. Zero.
No, zero.
Zero.
Because we're going to stay positive.
That's it. That's it.
We went to the show at Great America yesterday, and they had no problem picking on the politics. Matter of fact, when the girl who was playing the evil witch in the play said that she was going to run for president, she got a standing ovation.
Right. You know, the sad thing is, today's world, I don't know, you know, Saturday Night Live is like the real thing now.
Right.
You can't tell the difference between a Saturday Night Live skit and a quote-unquote debate that these two were having. And I've also seen, too, a couple of newspapers, major newspapers, have said they're not endorsing either one of them. They're like, yeah, this is ridiculous, and we're not going to endorse it.
We're talking about politics. You do realize that, right?
No, it's not. It's just the...
You're untalking. You're
That's
untalking about. I've got to start out with a poem this morning. One of my favorites from Rudyard Kipling, written in 1897.
Go with it.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, yet make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied to, don't give in to lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat these two impostors both the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build 'em up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings, and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about the loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can walk with kings and keep your virtue, or if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. The first time I heard that poem, I was having trouble with an athlete in high school. And I think confidence was really his issue. He was covering it up with a lot of ego and a lot of other things. But I heard that poem, and I shared it with him, and I watched a young man's life turn around from, I did give him an assignment to really break down the stanzas and tell me what that meant and how it fed into his life. But watch that, transform his life. And as we talk about confidence this morning, I think the things that poem stresses really speak to confidence and turning your life around. Carmelda, how are you?
That's it, early in the morning. That is, that's a cool poem. And that was by
Rudyard Kipling, same guy who wrote the Jungle Book.
R. Kipling, right. And that's just a new movie, too. They just redid it with real people, not cartoons. Real actors this time.
Yeah, my wife and I went to see it before we took the grandkids,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some parts of it, a couple of our younger grandkids,
No
they'll
bueno.
wait a couple years. Sean, a little bit about radio etiquette. If there's a pause and you got something to say, just dive right in there. This isn't we're sitting at a restaurant and we're going to wait for someone to. Dead air is not good air.
That's
on
right.
Radio, so feel free if something pops into your mind as we're talking, and we'll know if you'll just kind of lean up to the microphone and we'll give that pause to you. But if you sit back, you may as well be tuned in.
Yeah,
to the radio.
or you just talk over everybody like I do. I like doing that. Just start cutting. When you control the microphones, I can get people. That's confidence, folks. That is true confidence. When you run the board, when you're producing this thing, yeah, I've got confidence.
Well, what's the difference between confidence and ego?
Few letters.
I don't think there's a G in confidence.
Boom. That's it. Confidence and ego, right? I think ego is something that you splash all over everybody, and confidence something that you hold inside.
Well, confidence kind of just is there in the room. When somebody walks in and is confident, you feel their presence.
Yeah.
Some of the ego has to let you know they're in the room. Hey, I'm here. Hey, look at me. Here I am.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is we talk a little bit about gratitude as well. Is one of the things that I'm very grateful for is at work. You and I were talking about it on the way into the studio this morning, Coach. Is just that some of the people that I work with, lead with confidence and some don't.
Right.
Right. And it's those outside factors that when somebody leads with confidence, it builds your confidence as well. Right. And I'm very grateful to be able to work around people that have that confidence and that pull me along, I guess, if I could say that, right, and build my confidence rather than the ones follow the ones who don't. That,
Well,
make me
and
question
just I'm
myself.
going to share one of our my stories about Sean here. When he was in 8th grade, I was his track coach, and that year the weather had not been real friendly, so we didn't get a lot of time up at the actual high school facilities with the long jump runway. And Sean had still been winning. I think he might have won every track meet with like 16.8, maybe a close to 17-foot long jumps, which is decent
Dang.
for an 8th grader.
Yeah.
We're at the conference track meet, and I'm watching him doing a couple of run-throughs and realize he's not really using his arms in his delivery. And I'm like, hey, Sean, come over here. You need to drive those arms when you hit that board. Drive the arms like you're trying to dunk a basketball. Get up. And he did a couple of on the grass attempts. I said, go give me a run through. So he went over and he got on the runway as the judge stepped out and said, okay, no more run throughs. Sean Grimes, you're up. And all the confidence of an 8th grade child looking at you going,
What the?
what do I do? Use your arms. What was your jump? Do you remember it that day?
Jump school record. It was 19 feet 3 inches and a quarter, I believe.
I thought it was
Dang.
1911 and a quarter.
Something like that.
You're just short of 20
20
feet,
feet.
2 feet farther than he had jumped. Now, he scratched the rest of his jumps that day.
So I only had one good jump to go.
Oh,
That's all I needed.
but in the long jump, that's all you need. Now, he looked at me going, wow, what a great coach. And I went, wow, what a jerk for not having spent a lot of time with him, through the season. And eventually, what was your high school long jump? Do you remember?
That was my farthest jump that year. And then after that, that's when I blew out my knee at sectionals and never jumped again.
Oh,
So it was, it's one of those things, a little bit of confidence, a word from somebody, when they're coming to the huddle and you're looking at them going, what do I say to these? It doesn't matter what you say as long as you say it with confidence.
yeah.
And because you give that confidence to people.
And amazing, right? I mean, the best thing is he's probably kicked himself all these years going, man, if I'd just spent a little more time with him, maybe he wouldn't have blown out his knee and maybe he'd have.
Yeah, well,
Everything happens for a reason.
That's it.
So, I move forward happy with the way things happen. I wish high school would have went a little different. I would have done a little better on a couple things and
Yeah.
would have conditioned a little bit better here and there. But everything happens for a reason. I'm happy where I am today. So
That's it. That's
Well,
strong confidence right there.
that is strong confidence, and you'll find out where that comes from in a little while.
That's it. So as we look to reboot people's mental software, right? Give it a refresh. Folks, a couple times the computer here at the studio, my laptop at home last night, had to go through some updates, right? So you sit there and watch the thing spin, and then it restarts. The entire computer turns off and then restarts. And as we look to reboot some mental software here for you as you move through on Monday morning with us, two
Bald guys at a microphone.
We look to get that restart, right? And today what we're talking about is confidence. And confidence, it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, you need it, right? Doesn't matter where you're going, you need it. And the question is Coach, as we reboot the mental software, is what are some things, I think, do you have some things that we can do, Sean, feel free to jump in as well, to help people along as they're going through the week and maybe their confidence starts to dip?
I've got a couple of things, but Spencer Jones says, "Morning, pops."
Hey!
I guess he's talking to you.
That's my son in the Navy. Good morning, son. Welcome to the show. Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, Spencer, welcome.
Oh, and by the way, Spence, you got your mother and sisters up in it. He says, I got a secret for you guys. And all the girls were like, well, what is it? He goes, it's a secret. That's all they've been talking about all weekend.
And my good friend Randall Vineyard is on. Good morning, George. How are you? We never call each other by the same name. And so
so is his name Randy?
his name is actual
Okay.
Randy Randall. So confidence, one of the things that is really important in confidence, and let's look at self-confidence first, is if there's a thing that you're doing or you're preparing to do, practice.
Mm-hmm.
Practice gives you self-confidence. If you've practiced it 100 times, 300 times, 1,000 times, when it comes time to perform it in competition, you're able to do it. However, if you just like watch it and you say, wow, that'd be really cool to be able to do that in a game, there's a move called the Maradona in soccer. It's a move where you place one foot on the ball, you kind of pivot around it, and you drag the ball with the other foot. It's kind of cool. Obviously, Maradona perfected the move, and it was named after him. And I had a young boy who was really good at it in practice, but he never attempted it in a game. His name was Brady, and I'm like, Brady, I'd like to see you do that in a game. Use it. Believe in yourself. Have confidence. Well, he gets in the game, and he had an opportunity to use it to go around an opponent from the other team. Unfortunately, he was going in through the 18-yard box towards the goal as he did it, and he actually missed the second step, and the opponent right there just kind of knocked the ball in the goal and said, thank you very much. I said, Brady, that's really, really good that you tried it in the game, but the next time, could we do it a little farther away from the goal? But practice is so important. And kids, you mentioned it earlier, that I wish I would have spent more time conditioning. Wish I would have spent more time in practice. We play basketball still at Marion Central. One of the things I always like to say is a little confidence is a good thing. A lot will kill you. Sometimes when you have this confidence you can do a thing, but you haven't repeated it often enough, it can come back to bite you in the butt. We got a couple more highs here. Becky Vanistel, good morning, Kent. My
Hey,
daughter
good
and I
morning.
were just talking about confidence. It's important to instill it in our kids today. And Frank Hostica, the fuzzy member of Two Ball Guys and a Microphone, just pitched in and said, I slept in today, guys.
Well, your seat's open, Frank. That's a nice thing. Now, confidence, folks, just to put a term on it, you hear a lot of things, you see a lot of things, a lot of people will do it differently. The self-confidence, if we were to go that way, if self-confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. That's what our good friend Webster says. So it's that self-assurance of something that you appreciate about yourself or whatnot. Through my coaching, what Al Mendiola and I always try to teach the kids is just that muscle memory. Because if you've got that muscle memory, you're confident when it comes. You don't even have to think about using it. So your self-confidence is already there. Michael Jordan once said, right, you could take 1,000 jump shots a day, and he says, but if you take 1,000 bad jump shots, you've taken 1,000 bad jump shots, right? So it's about teaching that muscle and that working. And when we say muscle memory, I really, the strongest muscle is the brain. So it's getting that brain just used to, going through in your career, right? Serving our nation. I'm sure there are things that you could do in your sleep, just from that muscle memory that gave you extreme confidence, right?
Of course, definitely. And another thing to go with confidence, though, I would say is trust. Trust in the people around you and having a confidence with the people that are around you to have that trust inside yourself.
Bingo. And that's, and that's where, even though you may have real strong self-confidence, if you don't trust those people around you, those outside factors can start nipping away at your own self-confidence.
Yeah, when you're in a firefight, that's not a time to doubt yourself.
Exactly.
One of my favorite stories was there was a battle going on in the private comes up to the armor, and the armor's like, I'm all out of weapons. He goes, oh, I can't go out to battle without a weapon. He says, well, just go take your problem to the company commander. I don't have time for you. So he goes into the commander, and the commander's in the middle of a bunch of things. They're like, sir, I need a weapon so I can go fight. And the commander reaches around, and he grabs a broom, and he hands it to the kid. And the kid says, what do I do with this? He said, just go out, point it, and say, bangity, bangity. And the kid's like, yeah, right. This kid wasn't dumb. He went out and he put his head behind a rock, but they're falling to the left, falling to the right. So he finally picks up the broom and he goes bangity, bangity. A couple of enemies go down. He's like bangity, bangity, bangity. A couple more go down. He goes brr, brr, put it on automatic. He's mowing them down now. And he had taken over the whole battle with this broom. And then all of a sudden there's one enemy soldier walking right at him. So he picks up the broom and he goes bang. Keeps walking and goes bang, bang. Keeps walking, brrr, puts it on automatic, keeps walking. The last thing that kid heard was tankety, 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 tankety. You know, confidence, as someone instills it in you, will allow you to do things that you can't imagine.
Yeah. So the enemy was a tank.
Oh, good. He's quick. It's good to have a co-host that is right on the ball here.
Right on the ball. So some things that you know, if you're going through the week, you know, what I always say is you have a picture of confidence. You have a picture of success, right? Everybody has their own. So you know you can see when somebody has confidence, right? You might be at you know, getting coffee at Starbucks or somebody, and whatever
Can you say that on the air?
I did.
Okay.
We got to get some money from them, maybe. You know, is that person walks through the door, and whatever your picture of confidence is, you're like, that person's got it. You know.
Definitely. I mean, me being, you know, a recruiter, you know, of nature, and you know what I do for work, and just seeing people come in for interviews, you know when they walk in if you're going to hire them or not.
Yeah.
That's at least how I am. You can tell how someone carries themselves with confidence, or you know, they're second guessing, you know, the way they're dressed when they walked in, or you know, what the things they have to say during these interviews. But a lot has to be said about someone, the way they carry themselves,
right.
especially for interviews with confidence.
Well, or even just the way they carry themselves, like you said. It may not be something they said, but man, they walk in with confidence, you know, and you have that picture of confidence. So you know, the thing is, like myself is, you know, in the business world, you know when somebody's put together. You're like, you know, I don't know who that person is.
Frank Costiga.
But you know they're successful and they have confidence. So you should try to emulate that, right? So if confidence is, you know, having a white press shirt and a blue suit, then you know, go get yourself a white press shirt, a blue suit. It's going to help your own confidence, right? If it's being clean shaven, like Coach and I, or if it's beards, like you know, Sean and I. I can fit both of those. You see that, right?
Yeah, but you know where the progression's going, right?
Yeah.
Hair and a beard.
Right.
Beard and bald, no hair, perfection.
That's right. And good thing the headphones cover up the ear hair.
Well, in the light of rebooting your mental software, let's talk about confidence thinking, because that's going on. And read a little bit from Catherine Pratt here, life-with-confidence.com, life-with-confidence.com. Confidence thinking is really the mastery of one's mind. You need to have control over your thoughts and not the other way around. Once you gain this skill, and it really is just a skill you develop, and then not only thinking positively, you have an aura of complete confidence and inner peace. Now, we opened our show several weeks ago with the attitude of gratitude, and Oprah said journaling on on gratitude was one of the things that changed her whole world. Now, if anyone walks into the room exuding confidence, I would say probably Oprah would be right there.
Yeah.
But she goes on to say, it's your thought patterns which have the greatest impact on your life. Think about it. If you think everything in your world is horrible and that there's no hope, how can you possibly change your life for the better? Your negative thoughts completely control your life. The good news is you can change this by simply learning a few techniques. And number one, you start by paying attention to your thoughts, not getting caught up in them. I mean, we all have thoughts. I've coached several, over 5,000 athletes, and there are a few athletes in that mix, and I could name them by name, who didn't have that filter, that they, whatever came into their brain, they would just do. And you know one of them very well. And they would just do, and it gets you in a lot of trouble. You have to really pay attention and filter your thoughts, and sometimes consciously filter your thoughts. But you can develop that subconscious filter that will take a lot of those things out before they ever get in, so that the confident thinking precedes confident action. So if you're thinking, if you're questioning or doubting yourself, then your actions are going to show that. If you step up to the free throw line, or I always ask the question, were you happy you got fouled? And some kids will answer, yeah, I get to go to the line and have a chance to win the game. And others are like, oh no, I don't want to be on the free throw line with the game tied. Oh, that's terrible. Well, it's just a different way of thinking.
That's it. And one thing that I do, right, and you have to be very careful of your own self-talk, is if there's a negative, if there's a negative thought in my head, I think of it like a bug, and I got to squash that bug. So if you can think of, like, a lot of people are scared of spiders, but your most nastiest, bug that you can think of, and you realize that once that negative thought gets in there, if you can squash that out, and then replace it with a positive thought.
For sure.
A lot of runners, marathon runners, as they're training and whatnot, want to stop after so many miles or whatever. Trust me, the only thing I run is my mouth. So,
and he jumps to conclusions.
That's right. But the thing is, they have to constantly tell themselves, in the next mile, they got to squash that thought out.
I had a lot of those inner talks in the military.
Yeah.
Running on average of 3 to 5 miles a day for 8 years.
Do you remember those night maneuvers when you're out on patrol? It's dark, you can't see where you're going. It was almost like meditation. I mean, seriously, you're just like zoned in on the guy in front of you, because that's the only thing that and you just got to trust that the guy in front of you is going the right way. And if you're the guy all the way in the front with the night vision device on, it's a very strange thing. Take a set of binoculars, put them up to your eyes, and start walking. This is what it's like walking with night vision device on, except
Yes, it is.
you can see, but you have no depth perception.
Sure.
So you have to have confidence that he is trained enough to walk without depth perception, because one guy goes down, you're all
Go
down. So, confidence is all over.
It's like a bad cartoon. Right?
Trust me, the real life is always funnier than the cartoons.
That's it. But the other thing that to be confident, you have to act confident. And you can go through all the thoughts and all the things, but if you can't act confident, I mean, how many times I always in basketball, I always teach the players. I'm like, listen, basketball is a con game. The team that walks on that floor with the most swag and the most confidence has already got a leg up on the other team, right? So back when the Bulls used to be good, right, and they won that 72 games or whatever, most teams defeated themselves before they even got in the gym, because they're like, oh man, and there was always that one guy like, I got to guard Jordan tonight. Are you kidding me? So, but they hit that floor with extreme confidence, and they had more confidence than the other team. The other team was like, well, let's just try to stay close,
But in the 10 other victories, the 10
Right.
losses, the 10 times the other teams won, and they came in maybe with that thinking, then all of a sudden somebody's hot, somebody's going, and that confidence can make the switch in midstream if something positive happens. So in your life, as you're going, and you get up, and it's just, the day just starts off horrible. And man, it's like you stub your toe when you get up, and you trip over the cat, and the cat jumps and knocks over your coffee onto your wife. I mean, it's just like, it just started off bad. You have the right.
Yeah.
Deke Jones says it's okay to start over.
Yeah.
You got to get positive thoughts moving on in your mind. You got to find something to be thankful for, and in doing so, it's going to move you forward.
And action's always the key to confidence. I mean, we can sit here and talk about it, and we can have the most positive self-talk that we can, but the more you do, the more confident you become, right? So action actually, is the key to developing self-confidence. One thing to learn to think positive, but when you start acting on it, you change yourself.
Definitely.
I mean, and that's what you want to do, is change what you're doing and who you are to be confident. Doesn't matter if you're human, you're going to be nervous and scared. If you have a presentation, or you got to go to court, or if you have if you've murdered somebody, you might want to be nervous. Not so confident, a little humbling, but when you're going to court. But if you're going to court for something that you feel you're right on, I mean, you're going to be nervous, but you can't let those nerves shake your confidence. You have to stay confident. Now, 8th grade was a long time ago, but when you jump 19 feet, you're like, all right, I'm going to hit this, and you did, But if you'd have sat there and gone, well, I can't do this, only jump 5 feet maybe.
I think it comes down to, with confidence, it's not about just yourself. It's about believing in something bigger than yourself, and believing in the people and the tools that are around you. Not just people, but the tools. Tools being, for me, my outlet was the military. My other outlet was school. Believing in those things that are around you and surround you every day to make you a better person, so you have more confidence in yourself to go out in that world that day and be able to accomplish those goals you set out for.
That's it. And knowing what those goals are. Absolutely.
Here's a couple of lines, and see if you can guess. This is not the riddle of the day, but see if you can guess who said this. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes.
Man is a product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. Zig Ziglar.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh.
Gandhi.
Magami.
Magami.
It's his twin.
What we are, what we think, all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Good old Buddha. Change your thoughts and change your world. Norman Vincent Peale. Our thoughts create our luck. Whatsoever a man sows, so shall he reap. Dr. Forrest Shackley. There's several things. Getting control of your thoughts will get control of your confidence. But so often we're filled with so much negativity. If you haven't seen the video I posted on taking out the trash on our Facebook page, 2 bald guys and a microphone, 2 bald, the number 2, bald, you can never be too bald.
Never.
Go check that out. Take out the trash and you'll find your confidence starting to rise.
That's it. I do so like green eggs and ham.
I do not like them, Sam. I am.
Dr. Seuss.
I have a riddle for the day.
Here comes the riddle for the day. Folks, you're listening to 101.3 FM WHIW out of Harvard, Illinois, and we are
2 bald guys and a microphone. Here it is. Who makes it has no need of it. Who buys it has no use for it. Who uses it can neither see nor feel it. What is it? Who makes it has no need of it. Who buys it has no use for it. Who uses it can neither see nor feel it. What is it?
That is a good one. Hey, we just brought in our good friend out in East Texas, Greenville, Texas.
Greenville, Texas?
Rancher Ron is with us now. Rancher Ron, how are you this morning?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Green Acres is the place to be.
We are
Hey,
good.
I'd like to make a comment. Great topic about confidence this morning. I had texted Tim on Thursday and said, "Hey, what's the topic for this week?" He texted back, "Confidence." So I sent back, "Are you sure?" He says, well, maybe. Let me think about it. Yes.
That's it.
Well, I'm not sure now. Doggone it.
He did the same thing to me last night. He calls. We always touch base on Sunday evening. He's like, "You sure we should do confidence?"
He hesitates.
Like, oh yeah. Well, we'll know if we did a good job with people's responses on on Facebook. Like that was the worst confidence building session ever.
Tricia Stahl checked in. Tricia's retired Navy, a friend of mine, and she said, I lived in Greenville, Texas.
Wow.
There's not many people live in Greenville, Texas, so that is a Tricia. Good morning, welcome, and you're in good company down there with Rancher Ron.
Yeah, well, I didn't start living till I got to Greenville, Texas.
Zig Ziglar always says, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here just as quick as I could.
That's it. So what we're talking about today, folks, is confidence. We've got Sean. Sean is in studio with us, and when we get into this guy's story, unbelievable, right?
Call your friends, have them tune in.
Seriously, if you want to hear about extreme confidence, this guy, what he's going to bring to the table here in the next hour is absolutely going to help you out. It's going to rock your world, which is great.
Yeah, keep putting him on this pedestal, okay? I don't know if the confidence is going to hold through here.
That's it. And the riddle again was...
The riddle of the day is, who makes it has no need of it, who buys it has no use for it, who uses it can neither see nor feel it. What is it? What is it? What is it?
What is it? And this is not from your 10-year-old grandson.
That is not from James.
All right, because those are the harder ones. All right, that's it. And the nice thing is, folks, is that as we talk about confidence, everybody can use it, everybody can have it, and it, if you understand it, it really helps. Now, one last thing I just wanted to touch on is that before you do anything, if you're feeling a little unconfident, is to take a deep breath and stand up straight, shoulders back, good posture, really feel good about yourself. The military, right? I mean, guess why they do that, right? They don't do it because they want everybody just to look good, right? That builds confidence. Just your structure, your foundation, to be able to throw your shoulders back.
Well, they call it parade rest. You lock your hands behind your lower back, and it automatically pulls your shoulders back. And you spend so many hours standing in parade rest, it kind of just locks in that way.
For sure.
You're not really confident, you just look great. No, I'm kidding.
That's it.
Might be confident you look good, not confident you might pass out, though.
Well, that's when you lock the knees, and I'm sure you've seen it on a hot day, standing in formation, waiting for the general.
Many times.
The general will be here in 5 minutes. Well, the general will be here in 5 minutes.
Down she goes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Like dominoes at that point. That's it. And Rancher Ron always gets his cattle to stand that way too, which is good. Before he starts milking them.
Before the production meetings.
That's it.
Production meetings? Are those important?
Oh, yes. We go down and we talk about performance and what the numbers have been for the previous month and everything.
Production meetings, isn't that where you figure out where you get your bull?
Yeah.
Oh, that's reproduction.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
reproduction. Thank you very much.
Back.
Back, easy.
Yeah, we're giving him more buttons. We got to watch this guy.
That's when you're driving the ship, what do they say? Get out of port or something. I don't know. But just a great show this morning. As we move into X's and O's, Coach, we've got the X's and O's youth sports.
Sports.
Yeah. What's good? What's bad? What's trending? Not necessarily focusing on the youth, but more on.
Well, getting everyone to focus on the youth. Recently, I published an article on my LinkedIn page called "Take My Child, Please." With the influx of professional coaches in the child ranks, the cost of youth sports has gone through the roof. The travel cost of kids going to soccer tournaments, basketball tournaments, baseball tournaments has moved in to the top 5 categories in the travel industry. They are now going out and marketing to this group of people because so much is spent. I was at a soccer tournament last year in the spring at St. Charles, Illinois. 225 teams in this tournament. Now, I did just a little bit of math going down. If you take a look at the average kid in a tournament with the $150 uniform, and you got to have, the $117 special shoes because you just can't, kick a soccer ball the right way without the special shoes. And everybody has to have the color coordinated backpack to go along with everything. And you got to have the $97 soccer ball because you just can't kick the $2 Walmart special. And each kid, you're looking at probably around $300 just in accessories. You add in a $1,500 to $3,000 a year training cost. You put an average of 12 kids. Well, the bottom line is at that tournament, when I finished the math, it represented about $6 million, and that's one tournament.
Soccer's cheap.
Yeah,
Baseball.
Well, look at hockey.
Hockey's even
Hockey,
worse, yeah.
it gets bad, and now you got a kid where ice time is 11 o'clock at night so that they can get their team on the ice. So now you got these 10, 11-year-old kids practicing all kinds of strange hours, and for what purpose? What are we trying to accomplish here? We've missed the message sometimes. Youth sports, to me, and I've always said this, I don't coach sports, I coach life. I use sports as a medium. And we've stopped doing that. It's become more about the wins and losses than it is about the character development and the other things. And the other part of that is now that the parents, when they were paying $50 for a season, they stood back and they there was still one or two that would get noisy. But now if you've got $6,000 out there on the field and your coach isn't doing in your eyes the right thing, you feel you now have a right to let everybody know that you've done it. Well, no, youth sports is still about developing character and good people.
Yeah.
And we've stopped doing that. I'm watching more and more the pushing and shoving, the pulling, whatever you can do to take an advantage over someone else so that you can get the win.
And that's just in the stands with the parents.
We had, my wife and I went to Las Vegas for, I think it was our 20th anniversary. And it was there was a soccer game when we got back. And we were going to just miss the game based on our flight. Well, we got back, we'd taken a limo in. And when we got back, turned out the limo company had just dropped off a bride and groom, and that limo was taking us home. And it was a Silver Stretch limo. I mean, this thing was huge. And so we got in this Silver Stretch, and I'm looking at my watch going, all right, take us straight to the game. So I figured, here I am. I'll get out at halftime of the game of a Silver Stretch limousine, and I'll walk out there. That was more ego than confidence, I think. I walk out there, and they drop us off, and there's nobody on the field. I'm like, where'd everybody go? Gordy Hughesby was picking up the flags. I'm like, Gordy, where'd everybody go? He's like, the referee called the game right before half and sent everybody home. I'm like, well, why did that happen? Well, we had one particular parent who was very adamant about life, and he'd been behaving himself pretty good. His son was just like a sandburr. He would get under the saddle of these, to put that in East Texas talk, so that the opponents would just get aggravated with him. And a parent from the other team yells out, "Get that A, beep, 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 off my son." And my parent at that point looks at him and goes, "That A, beep, 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 is my son." He said, "Well, no wonder he's like he is. Look at you." I'm obviously cleaning up the conversation a little bit. But next thing you do, you had two parents fighting. Mm-hmm. And then the son, who saw his dad fighting, went over and grabbed a chair and hit it over the back of the guy's head. Now all the kids, and these are like, they might have been 15, 16-year-old, at that point in time. So they were at that point, a lot of testosterone, a lot of things going on. But it turned into this melee that's the first time it ever happened with one of my teams, and I wasn't there.
Unbelievable.
So, but it all came down to the parents in the stand couldn't just let the kids play soccer.
Yeah, and speaking about the cost of it, is in the New York Times back a year ago, 2015, they actually did an article on that, and there was an assistant professor out at Utah State who has done some research which involves parents' engagement in their children's sports. Said that spending on sports has grown so high, up to 10.5% of gross income in his research is spent. So so if a family of is bringing in about $50,000 a year, they could be spending $5,500. He said without being judgy, I'm fine with families spending that kind of money. What's wrong is when the investment brings out some sort of negative parent behavior, right? So a lot of and if you're going to ask me, right, you have to be realistic. Not everybody's kid is going to get a 4-year scholarship to college.
Really?
I'll jump in on that real quick.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to be able to raise 2 boys in my lifetime. I was married for 7 years prior to my current marriage, and the 2 boys were outstanding in baseball, and I love watching them. I had confidence in them, and I believed in them. And I, coming into their life at that time when they were into the sports, I'm like, okay, first time being a dad here, and I'm gonna step up to the plate, do what I gotta do. But the amount of sports and how much sports are, it was just ridiculous for me.
Astronomical.
And the oldest, Brandon, I told him, as long as you keep playing with confidence, and as long as you have the love for the sport, and you love to do what you do when you go out every day, and you give it 150%, I'll back you 100%.
Right.
And as soon as you lose that confidence in yourself, no hard feelings. We'll walk away from it. And that's what we did. The last year he played baseball, his senior year in high school, I traveled all over the United States.
Wow.
I probably spent over $20,000 just in baseball. That's not traveling costs. That's just baseball.
That's just baseball.
That's, like Coach was saying, having the best bat, having the best
Oh, yeah.
glove, and the best of everything. And when you play on a traveling team, everybody has that unity. Everybody has to look the same. We went down to the Little League World Series. Everybody was like, seniors and on their way to college and stuff. That was that age group. And it was by far the most important 5 games he would ever have to pitch in his career. And when we were down there, he pitched the worst 5 games he's ever pitched in his career. And in front of probably over 300 different college scouts.
Wow.
And after that day, I looked at him, I go, how are we feeling? He's like, I just can't do it no more. I'm like, no problem.
Yeah.
Just grab our backpacks and let's head home. Same individual, since he didn't get his baseball scholarship, went on to the Marine Corps, became a sergeant, and he is now, from my understanding, I haven't had the opportunity to speak with him lately, but through the grapevine, I hear that he got a full ride scholarship to Southern California to
Wow.
play Division I baseball.
You're kidding.
And he kept up with his confidence, and he stayed with it, and he's always had that love in him,
Right.
for the game. He might have lost a little bit of confidence, but he regained it, and now look where he's going to be at.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That's cool.
I wonder if confidence may be affecting a couple of our Cubs batters right now.
Maybe there's just bad juju on those bats.
No, there is no bad juju. This is still the year, but I think that you'll see a breakout game after last night's 1-0 loss. I think you'll see the Cubs rock forward from here. That's confidence. I believe in my Cubs. Go Cubs, go!
That's it.
I feel, and with the Cubs situation right now, they feed off their fans,
Yeah.
and I feel, unfortunately, a lot of these Cubs tickets are a little too high right now. So your normal
Little.
fan base, who really pumps up the crowd, can't afford to actually go to these games.
Right.
So the
They're
Cubs
sitting in the
games,
bars, yeah.
the Cubs games just aren't the way they used to be during regular season.
Yeah, yeah. To piggyback off what you said, I've got Spencer is my son. He's listening. Thanks, buddy. Out in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. Gonna have an MRI on his shoulder. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the story. Then I have 3 daughters, and Ashley, she's a sophomore out at MCC, and she plays basketball. Phenomenal talent, kind of same thing. And I watch her play, and she sees the game at a different speed, probably like your son. She's got that confidence. But I see a little bit of that love starting to slip, right? It's not from the game; it's just from the team. Good friends on the team. It's just she's been doing it for so long. Well, I've got an 8th grade daughter, Colette, who is probably one of the best talents in the area. She's grown. She's about 5'6", 5'7" in 8th grade, left-hander, can handle the ball. Is wonderful, right?
That left hand.
Yeah, and so with Ashley, I, as a parent, whatever, go, keep going, and we put her in some spots because of our love and desire to have her play. That she got some injuries and things while she was growing. Well. We've learned. So actually had a conversation with my daughter Colette in the 8th grade, kind of the same way that you did with your boys. It was, I'm like, you tell me what you want. If you want to go to college and play, that's what we'll focus on, and that's how we'll prepare you. If you want to just have a good high school career, that's how we'll prepare you.
But
right?
whatever route you take, you give it 150% every day you wake up.
Every day you wake up.
Exactly.
And she's doing that. I mean, this girl, 8th grade, she's getting in the gym twice a week, at 6 in the morning at the high school, and she's working, and she's a straight A student as well. She's got a lot going for her.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Straight A student, left-hander,
Yeah.
right there.
With a bald guy for a parent.
Yeah, I wanted her to. She played softball for a couple of years. She didn't really like it, but I wanted her to pitch. I'm like, oh, that lefty.
Lefty pitcher. What school do you want to go to?
That's right. But she was like, it moves too slow for me. And so, but she loves basketball. And then we got Lucy coming up, who's 7, and she loves to dance and sing and play music. I'm like, go for it. People are like, oh, she's going to be your cheerleader. I go, I hope so. Then I only have to show up at halftime. I don't have to sit through the whole game. But to your point is, I think a lot of parents, in those youth sports, you're dumping a lot of money in there, and a lot of the parents are trying to live out their dream.
Yes,
instead
I agree.
Instead of just
and traveling so much and being all over the United States with baseball and seeing some of these parents. Sometimes you sit back and you're like, man, am I doing the right thing?
Right.
Am I that parent? And you really got pulled back a little bit sometimes because you don't want to be like that.
Yeah, you certainly don't. And it's a good thing to not be that person, folks. Go ahead.
You know what I think?
What?
You know what I've seen the most disappointing thing is a parent goes out there, spends the $5,000, and his kid is the kid in Little League out in right field, swatting the flies, looking at the birds, picking the grass.
Right.
Now that's disappointment from a standpoint of pushing a kid into a situation he might not want to be in also.
Disappointment maybe, but also maybe a blessing in disguise. That kid could also be out in right field, being part of something bigger than himself, being part of that team who's going to go to the championships. And he swatted those flies the best way he could swat those flies in right field. He was the best fly swatter on the team, but he contributed to that team's effort.
Right. That's a great point, Sean.
Thank you.
We're going to do a real brief pause for the cause. Coming up on November 5th, Saturday, the Assisi Animal Foundation, the annual benefit dinner dance is November 5th at Crystal Lake Country Club. The Assisi Animal Foundation supports the pet shelters. Their live auctioneer is sitting right here at this microphone. So on that night, November 5th, we'll be out working for the Assisi Animal Foundation Fall Fling. So if you are someone who really wants to get out and support someone, it's a Crystal Lake Country Club on November 5th. Ticket reservations need to be in by November 2nd, so they'll take your reservations right up to the end. If you'll reach out to me here on Two Bald Guys and a Microphone. Kent's reaching out to me. You couldn't see that unless you're watching on the live stream. Or if you'll call area code 455-9411, area code 815-455-9411. You can grab a couple of tickets to get out to the Assisi Animal Foundation and support a great cause.
And support a great cause.
A great cause.
Folks, you're listening to
Two bald guys and a microphone. We are with Rancher Ron. Rancher Ron is going to enlighten us a little bit on his view on confidence. So, Ron?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tim, I'm more ready than a dog chasing a deer.
Are you sure? Do you need a little more time?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's rock on. Let's hear what Rancher Ron has to tell us today. Now, Ron, we had talked about this during the week. If you say something that we want to pop in on, you're good with us just coming in the middle of the story?
You know what? The most fun of being with you guys is the bantering back and forth. And, you know, I've come to a point in my life, I've realized I can always learn something new. I'll tell you, when we bought the ranch and we realized we needed a tractor on the ranch. Fortunately, my son had sold tractors in Central California in a farming area.
Is that in the middle of Los Angeles or?
Actually, it's up in the wine country near Santa Maria, north of Santa Barbara, along the coast.
Wasn't that one of the boats?
That's right, Santa Maria.
Santa Maria, it was. In fact, isn't today Columbus Day?
That was last week.
That was last week.
Oh, that was last week.
But you said it with confidence. I appreciate that.
I did. But we had no buildings on the property, so we took a very positive approach and decided the specifications for the tractor were that it had to fit within a 40-foot shipping container that we bought. So we had a dealer deliver it, and my son drove it in a tractor, and we got on the airplane and headed back to California. Now, I got to be honest. The possibility to accidentally kill myself with a big piece of equipment scared me. And not only that, you know how when you buy a new car, you start seeing all the same cars on the road? Well, once I mentioned to people I bought the tractor, it seemed like everybody had a story about a mishap on a tractor. My friend Skip told me how he drove his into a pond when the wheels came off the ground. Neighbors talked about relatives that lost limbs. My son recapped that he'd sold a tractor to a farming operation, and the next time he showed up, the general manager was in a cast at his desk, and there was a big hole in the construction trailer where one of his employees drove it into the trailer, hit the desk, threw him up against the wall, and I wasn't sure that I had done the right thing. And what I realized out of that is fear is the biggest confidence killer. The fear of what might happen. And I was scared. So I'm going to admit it right now to God and country that against every fiber of my male genetic makeup, I got the manual out and I started to read it.
Not the manual.
You just looked at the pictures.
I'm sorry. I'm asking for forgiveness, man.
That's it.
But I went through and I wanted to know what the capabilities of this tractor were, what it could do and what it couldn't do. I wanted to know where each and every lever was on that tractor and the function of it. I wanted to know the purpose of the loader and the bucket and the PTO, which is the power takeoff unit. And I wanted to learn everything that I could in programming that tractor. I created a mental checklist in my mind about what I was going to do when I first got on it. I had a vision of how I would look, how I would sit, which levers I would push, what my goal was on that test flight of that tractor. I'd already driven the tractor in my mind before I went out to get on it. And I also told myself that no matter how confident I got, I was going to start out slowly. and make sure I had a mastery of this piece of equipment. Tim, you talked about doubting yourself. I had doubted about what I was going to do. But then I knew I had to develop a positive mindset about this experience. After all, we bought the ranch to be fun, to be creative, to share experiences with other people. And I found out that confidence comes out of building a respect for yourself, to overcome your timidity. And many times that comes from taking a little history lesson of your life. I sat down and kind of recapped all the things that I had done, what I'd already conquered in life, and the accomplishments that I was proud of. I mean, I learned to fly airplanes. I raced motorcycles professionally for 2 years in high school. I sailed boats in storms. And what I learned out of that is that I already possessed many of the skills and talents by doing those things that were going to be required when I hit unknowns going out into the pasture for the first time with a tractor.
It's amazing.
I actually go ahead.
I say it's amazing flying a plane, and you were nervous about driving a tractor.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how when we get into new things, that fear starts right over again unless we take control of it.
It really does. Very, very interesting. It reminds me of a story. So when you're done, I'll tell you my tractor story.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I did though is I kind of looked around at what others were doing, and I learned that there's a difference between arrogance and confidence, though.
Amen. Yeah.
There's a fella that I've run into. I won't mention his name, but Tommy Fields.
Did you hurt him?
His name.
That's right.
He if you look up arrogant in the dictionary, his picture's there.
Right there.
He jumps into things, he brags about it, and you know what? He bends up a lot of equipment. You could give him a 6-inch steel bar that was 1.5 inches in diameter, he'd bring it back bent because he doesn't want you to know what he doesn't know. I found out that arrogance is not confidence. It's a defensive shield for people that are very insecure and don't have confidence. But then, as I had gone through other things, learning to fly the airplane, I had to have a trainer, a flight instructor. So I looked for a mentor to teach me things around the ranch. And I listened to others, and I asked questions. And I had the blessing of Ronnie Evans moving in across the street from us, the dirt road, actually.
I was going to say. The lane.
Yeah, there's actual gravel on it now.
Nice.
I don't pull out as many people in the mud with the tractor as I used to. But he would never tell you anything out of respect of not telling another man his business. But he would answer anything, any questions. And so I learned how to properly place the chains in a bucket for hauling equipment out. I learned how to change the shear bolts and the brush hog. And I learned all the things that I needed to be safe with a tractor and to make it operate to its peak efficiency. I asked him what some of the dangers were and how could I be the best at doing this. And I realized that confidence doesn't come from arrogance and braggadocious. It comes and begins with humility. That the way you get to a confident situation is being humble enough to take advice from others. The last thing, or one of the other things I learned was not to compare myself with others. Because to compare yourself with others is a confidence killer. Comparison is an ugly lie that we tell ourselves. We take our weaknesses and compare them to other people's strengths, and you cannot win. We lose sight that we're all part of a larger story, and the comparison to others destroys our respect that I talked about earlier for
Right.
ourselves, and it destroys our respect for our God-given talents that makes us unique and valuable.
Yeah.
And that kills your confidence, because then you say, I'm not good enough.
Absolutely. The other way to kill your confidence is to run a tractor into a chicken coop.
Chicken coop.
That'll do it.
Well,
That's one way. That's one way to run a foul.
that's right. That's my confidence story with a tractor is we growing up as a kid, we lived on a 100-acre farm, and we raised chickens, and so we could have our own poultry and eggs. And I'm the youngest of 4 boys, so we had an old Alice Chalmers, big, nice tractor to do kind of that stuff around the farm. My dad was an engineer, so we rented out the farming land, to the fields and things like that. But we still had a tractor for doing stuff around the farm. And all my big brothers were able to steer the tractor, drive the tractor, right? And being the youngest of 4, about 6 years old, I'm like, I can do that too. And I must have been convincing enough for my dad, to say, okay, we'll let you do it. He goes, he puts it in low, and he instructed me on everything to do, and if you feel like you need to stop, just pull this lever, it puts in the clutch, and it kills the tractor. I missed that part.
That's my boy.
So my mom knew my confidence, right? I remember my mom saying, "No, he's not ready. No, he's not ready." And I'm like, "I'm ready. I'm ready." And I get around, so he kind of steers it in our driveway, run around our house. And the first time I had to turn it, there's the chicken coop right there. And I couldn't steer that big thing. It didn't have power steering back then, right?
The power in your arms.
There was none. And so I'm going, and I'm like, oh man, here comes the chicken coop, right up over the fence. Whoa. Right into the chicken. I never seen my dad run so fast in his entire life, right? I'm scared, I'm shaking, because, the chickens are flying everywhere. Just tore it out. So I did not read the manual, obviously. But
could you read at 6, being from Iowa?
It was Michigan at that time.
Michigan.
But at that point, I had a lot of confidence in myself, and my dad did too. Needless to say, I don't, in all my memories as I recollect, I don't remember any other time of me driving that tractor.
The opportunity just never presented itself.
That's right.
Well,
See, I think Deke just verified my point that once you buy something, everyone's got a story.
That's right. That's right.
well, being raised on a farm and living there for 18 years, there's not enough time in the day for me to share all of my stories. Ron, we're getting ready to move on to Sean here, and feel free to stick around for a few seconds if any questions pop up. I'd love to have you and your insight there. But I just want to remind everyone that you're listening to WHIW LP 101.3 FM in Harvard, Illinois, and Two Bald Guys and a Microphone. Sitting with us in studio today is Sean Grimes. Get an official welcome, Sean.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be on the show.
Glad to have you here.
Sean and I first met when he was in junior high track. You moved to Johnsburg in your 8th grade year, is that correct?
Correct, from Chicago.
From Chicago. Came out to a beautiful place in the country, not to steal something from an Oldsmobile company. What are you waving at me there?
No, I'm just lifting up 2 balls.
Lifting us up.
Lifting us up.
Sean, one of the first questions we like to ask is, what are some of the lessons that you learned in school, and who were the people who taught you some of the things that brought you to where you are in life? A teacher, a coach, a parent?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's not much there.
3 people that I have in mind that hits my brain right away would be yourself, Coach, Coach Shelton, and I'm forgetting his name for the life of me. Coach with the Z.
Oh, Zelly.
Zelly, Coach
Paul
Zelly. I moved out to Johnsburg, from the city. I didn't know anybody, and here I am, 8th grade, 6'1".
Dang.
6'1" kid that just came from the city. Let's get him on all the sports.
That's right.
And that's really where I built my confidence from, moving out, from the city to the suburbs. In 8th grade, on basketball, football, and track team, I did very well, very well. And then, once I got into high school, all these coaches had all these expectations for me. I want Grimes. I want Grimes on the basketball team.
Right.
I want Grimes on the track team. And I really didn't have the love for any of it. I knew I was good at it, and I got far in my early ages from just natural ability. And I remember sitting in the lunchroom cafeteria, and after school, it wasn't detention; it was for something else. Freshman year, and Coach Zelli, right?
Yeah, Paul Zelli.
Paul Zelli was conducting his track and field practice, and indoors. So the track team was doing sprints up and down the hallways, and I'm sitting there being arrogant and cocky and being like, "You guys think you're fast?" And Coach Zelli looks at me and goes, "Stop talking and let's come up here and race." So I remember he put myself, and I don't know if you remember Coach Larry Bolda.
Oh yeah.
Probably one of the fastest kids in the conference for football and in track. And he was a junior that year. So he was a junior when I was a freshman. So it was myself, Zelli, and Larry Bolda. And we raced down the halls. And I beat Larry, and I pretty much beat Zelli as well. And he's like, "That's it." He goes, "I'll see you tomorrow." I'm like, "Where?" He's like, "At practice." I'm like, "I don't know if I want to do that or not." And he goes, "You don't have a choice. So we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see what you can do." And it went from there. And just him having confidence in what he saw made me have a little more confidence in myself.
Right.
And, through my high school career, as far as sports goes, having Coach, Tim Stewart here, by my side through the whole time, and his constant daily motivational one-liners or poems or stories
Always,
that he
yeah.
has for you, it kept me going. Two stories real quick that got me through high school and sports. One was from Coach Stewart, and you go ahead and recite the poem that I like, the one with the runner.
Oh, I owe it to my friend.
Correct. If you don't mind saying that one.
Sure. Time was passing quickly by and leaving me behind. The muscles that once were my pride were getting hard to find. If I was going to be in shape in this life again, I knew the time had come. I had to do it then. So I said a word up to the Lord to help me through the miles and started off upon a run. That first one held no smiles. And at the end of that first week of running the same old boring course, I reached the end of my driveway. I felt strong as a newborn horse. At the end of the second week, I had to face the facts. I wasn't going to make it. Running got the axe. It was about that time I met a man who seemed much worse off than I. He asked if I would run with him, just to help the miles go by. Against my better judgment, I said of course I would. And that day I ran a mile more than I thought I could. I found out what I needed to help me through a run. It was someone to talk to. That really made it fun. Then just inside a half a year, we entered in a race, and to the surprise of everyone there, I set the winning pace. I owed all to my friend, I said while pointing to my side, but no one was standing there. It hit me, then I cried. That man who came to me so many weeks ago, he didn't need my help at all. He was there to help me go. I had to stop and think about all the things he said. It's funny how something so simple never entered into my head, for I was the one who had asked for help, and that's all that he had done. But instead of giving me inner strength, the Lord had joined me on the run.
And it was that pretty set me aside. I mean, maybe I interpreted it maybe differently from what you wanted to interpret to your audience, but for me, it was more along the lines of it's not always about me.
Right.
It's about everybody else around you too, and having that team like environment feeling, and that just because I'm good at something doesn't mean I'm great at something either.
Right.
Everybody always needs improvement, and not everybody's there to knock somebody down either. So that gave me the confidence to believe in my teammates and believe that the people that are there pushing me are there for me, not for individual,
Right.
reasons. And that really got me on my right path, I would say, along the lines of, as far as sports. Then I remember going into regionals. I think it was my junior year, for track and field, and Coach Shelton pulled me aside and handed me a letter, and I read it, and it said, "If you believe in it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you'll become it." And that stuck with me throughout my whole life, and along with your poem, and those two things really got me on the track of believing in myself and pushing myself beyond my natural abilities. And that really set my pace for the rest of high school. And senior year, graduated early. What was it, regionals or state, where I blew my knee out?
Yeah.
That was probably the most catastrophic day of my life at that moment. I mean, sports were everything for me. I did good in school because of sports. I didn't like school. I'm a smart person. I could do the work. Sports got me through everything. And at the same time, through high school, I dealt with my parents going through a divorce, a new environment, living in city, coming out to the suburbs. Not just suburbs, but like way out in the
Way
middle
out
of
in the
nowhere.
country, that's right.
And now you're in Harvard.
You lived in Chicago. Where you live now? Johnsburg.
It's,
It just
where's
sounds,
that?
it just sounds far. So sports really got instilled confidence in me to get me through what I needed to. And when I blew out my knee junior year, everything went away. I was having looks from Iowa State.
Wow.
Things were going the way I envisioned them to. I was going to get to where I needed to go by piggybacking on my sports abilities. And then when I blew out my knee, it's like a professional athlete. What do you got to fall on, And I really didn't have anything. I didn't feel like at the time, I gave up. I let all sports go.
Wow.
I gave up to the point where I decided to graduate early my senior year and do away with school because I didn't want to be in that environment where I knew I couldn't participate because I just didn't feel good about myself. I wanted to be part of that team, and I knew I couldn't because of certain health situations that took place. So I got out. I left high school, and I left Johnsburg. I moved out to Roselle, went sort of back towards the city,
That's right.
civilization, and things in my life just weren't going the way I envisioned them. I had goals, and I wasn't reaching those goals, and then 9/11 happened. And I was actually working for a printing press company, and this printing press company refurbished printing presses. I was actually downtown Chicago in a high rise next to the Sears Tower, pulling out a printing press on a big rig. And to have a big rig down in the city, you have to have special permits and whatnot to get down there. So we just loaded this printing press that morning, and we're securing it down on the big rig, and we hear the news. And we're all, gathered around the TV, and we see what's going on, and we get police escorted out of the city.
Wow.
They want everybody out, and we got out, went to my job. My boss tells us to go home. And on my way home, I stopped for gas because I see like 100 cars lined up to get gas. I'm like, well, let me get in line.
Better do it, yeah.
So as I'm sitting there for about an hour and a half, I called my mom and I called my dad. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm not where I am in life because I didn't follow the things that I set out to do.
Right.
And one of them was join the Marine Corps. So I said, I'm going to do it. And I called my parents. I told them why. And I did it. 9/11 happened. I left for boot camp November 3rd.
Wow.
I left a month later. Since I was already out of high school and all that, I wasn't. I go anywhere I want for as a recruiter and stuff.
Sure.
I wasn't limited to a district or anything. So everything moved fast. And I got up and I left. And best decision I've ever made in my life. One of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my life.
Sure.
Feeling like you didn't succeed in high school to turn everything around and join the Marine Corps. Took a lot of
Balls.
self checking.
Yeah.
To can I do this?
Yeah.
And I put myself out there and I said, I'm going to do it. And once you sign those papers, there's no looking back.
Yeah,
You don't have a choice, you know.
You're in.
I mean, everybody has choices.
Right.
Trust me, you got choices in boot camp. It might not be the choices you want to take, but you got choices.
Right.
You know, so here I am, turned 21 in boot camp.
Wow.
I'm in San Diego on fire watch, watching the planes take off. The Freedom Bird, they called it. And just thinking, what am I doing? You know, is this where I'm supposed to be? And look where I am today, you know.
Well, in the Marine Corps, Sean, and let's just kind of move into that part of the story. You went into the Military Police Corps.
Correct.
Which is something that you and I shared. I think, I don't know if you knew I blew my knee out in high school as well, which
I didn't know.
we had a lot of interesting similarities. But you went into the Marine Corps, the military police. You were sent overseas on your first deployment, and something happened over there. Could you kind of, was it your first deployment where you ran into the IED?
The IED was the second deployment. My first deployment, I deployed to Japan. I was in Japan for 3.5 years, and I had 2 separate deployments while I was there to unknown disclosed area.
Right.
And then I actually ended up getting out of the Marine Corps in 2005. I was a little disgruntled, not happy with the way things were going. I was on the top of what I did. As in everything I do in life, I try to give it 100%. According to Marine Corps regulations and whatnot, with tattoos, they weren't allowing me to do my B billet. Well, if you don't do your B billet, you'll have a harder time picking up staff NCO. So I ended up getting out. I was only out for about 3 months, and I was involuntarily recalled into back to the Marine Corps from the IRR, the Active Ready Reservist. I was one of the first 30 sergeants recalled since Vietnam.
Wow.
So, you know, the whole process in that, just getting recalled, was stressful and
Sure.
not knowing what to do. I was with somebody at the time. I was dating somebody. It was serious. And I ended up getting my recall orders on the steps of my house Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Merry Christmas,
yeah.
Sean. You're going.
Welcome back.
A week before I told my then fiance that it's 1 in a billion chance I'll ever get recalled. And I got recalled. 6 months later, I got my personal things in order, and there I was in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, getting ready to head out. And wow, it was a very very interesting situation.
Sure.
Sort of say. Ended up getting deployed to Iraq, and taking over one of the platoons that I was there with. I was a platoon sergeant. I did 187 missions. I took a soft hit when I was out there from an IED.
And what does that mean? There's a lot of people who don't know.
Improvised explosive device.
The soft hit.
So a soft hit means there wasn't a direct hit, so you didn't like drive over it and it detonated underneath your vehicle. It detonated about 20 feet from me, but it still gave enough recoil to cause some damage. And that was in the old school Upper Armor Humvees.
Oh.
After that, I received a brand new MRAP. I can't tell you what that acronym stands for, but it's a bigger vehicle with a V-shaped bottom to actually detour the explosives.
It's like moving from the quarter pounder to the Big Mac.
Exactly.
There you go.
And I felt fine when I was out there for the most part. I continued on, pushed forward. I also broke my ankle when I was out there. Still went on all my missions with a broken ankle. I ended up coming home. I got out in 2009. I ended up staying in the rest of my time. So I did about 7 years, 3 months of my 8-year contract, because you usually do 4 active, 4 inactive.
Right.
Tried to stay in, and once again, at that time in the Marine Corps was difficult. They weren't promoting. You know, they were trying to downsize and all that. So trying to stay in the Marine Corps is actually harder than if you were to just go in from, boot camp.
Can you imagine that? Hello, I'm here to offer my life for my country. Well, you have to pass this test
Right.
to stay in here.
Yeah, it wasn't a test. I would have passed the test. It was more along the lines of, you got these tattoos, so we can't have you in. You're a great leader, but you can't lead because you got tattoos. Now the Marine Corps is a
Now
little
it's a little
different.
different, yeah.
They've laxed the regulations now, and technically I would qualify to be able to go back in right now, but that will probably never happen. 2009, I came home, and I would say I was home for about 2.5 months, and moved out to McHenry. I don't know why.
Came back out to the
I
country.
went back out there. I mainly went back out there for peace and serenity, to be away from that city life.
Sure.
I wanted to kind of be secluded for a little bit. I was having some hard times coming back from Iraq, and it showed. 3 months later, I ended up getting rushed to the hospital, and thank God I only lived like a mile away from Nipsey.
Right.
I had a mild heart attack, which was stress-induced. They said it was caused from severe PTSD, and I spent about a week and a half in the hospital.
Wow.
Come home from that, from mild heart attack at 29 years old,
29. Wow.
and your whole life changes. Everything, everything you do, from what you eat, working out, and,
Right.
just trying to change your life for the better to make yourself healthy. I ended up being hospitalized 3 more times in the next year from like severe flu-like symptoms, and doctors couldn't figure out what it was. I was having severe migraines. Finally, on the 3rd time, and seeing the same naval doctor at the North Chicago VA Center emergency room, he's like, you know what, I'm going to send you for an MRI. Went for my MRI and ended up finding a mass on my brain that was probably the size of a little bit smaller than like a silver dollar.
Wow.
3 months after that, they sent me for brain surgery to do a biopsy, and it turns out that I had stage 1 brain cancer, caused from the oil fields and burn pits in Iraq.
Really?
So been dealing with that. Then from 2009 till current, being laid off, I think about 6 times. Being a military police officer and having had up an associate's degree in criminal justice, I figured I'm going to go into the security field. So I started doing things along the lines of security project management. Worked for 3 different companies, went in there, made everything run like clockwork. Then you're expendable as a project manager.
Right.
So I would get laid off, and it was very what word am I looking for? It was
Challenging.
challenging.
Your confidence was waning a little bit?
My confidence was really low, because here I am. I got this experience and all this confidence from my service, and I'm like, I'm going to come home and do all these great things, and here I am just getting kicked down
Shaken
one
down,
after
yeah.
another. I found a niche of love for helping people, and helping people find jobs, especially veterans. I ended up getting a job with the unemployment office for Illinois, and I was helping veterans, get reacquainted into society, and helping them find jobs and leading them in the right direction, and that was great. With the state of Illinois and the unfortunate financial status that we are, government job, government funding, lack of funding,
No bueno.
and there goes my job.
Yeah.
I ended up working for a township here in Illinois. I'm not going to name names, where I was an employment services director there, kind of doing along the same things, helping veterans and the people within my community. Once again, government job, government funding, no funds,
No fun.
and there goes your job. I ended up working for a good organization called The Mission Continues, who is a national non-for-profit organization to help veterans with reintegration through community service projects. They were great as well, and once again, government funding or personal funds, because they got a lot of their funding from personal donations and stuff.
Right.
No funding, no job. So at that time, I was actually going through a really hard time in my life. That was about 3.5 years ago, when I lost my my last job, or my last job with the township, and I went through a really bad divorce that went the whole span of about 2.5 years. During this whole time, I was with a great woman who is now my wife, Cecilia. And she's been a very important part of my life, from that point moving forward. And right now, I am happy to say that I have found great employment with a great establishment here in Carroll Stream called Grunt Style, who is one of the #1 military clothing line companies in the United States right now. since 2009, when I got out until current, I put myself through school, completed my undergrad with DeVry University, and I just recently graduated in July with my master's degree in human resource.
Wow.
All that back to back to back.
And for a guy who didn't like school.
And for a guy who didn't like school,
And the confidence was waning.
yeah,
Right.
And my confidence wasn't there. You know, through life lessons and things I've been through in life, you have no choice but to try to have confidence in yourself. One thing I do say, and I say this often, I try telling as many people as I can. Be happy for today, blessed for yesterday, and pray for tomorrow. You can't live every day worried about what's going to happen, a week down the road, or dwell on the things that happened yesterday. You can only change the things that are going on in your life today, and that's how I live my life.
That's awesome. And folks, I told you this story it'd blow you away. And check us out on Facebook Live right now. As you look at, as I said earlier in this show, when you look at somebody and you have that picture of confidence and success, you're one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, all right, tattoos don't scare me. I've got them myself. But you look at you, and I'd have never guessed you've been through all that. Never.
Well, when I got back together with Sean and he started sharing with me, and I was like, well, okay, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Just to summarize, you had a great future in track and you blew your knee. So you went to the Marine Corps off of a very good reason, motivation.
Yeah.
And, that stopped, and then they called you back, and then they pushed you out, and then you got a job, and then they pushed you out, and then you got a job, and then they pushed you out, and then they got a job, and then you pushed them out. And they just keep, it would have been real easy to just roll over and say, what, the heck with all of this. What was it in the midst of all of that? What was it each and every time that made you pick yourself back up and take that next step and get going again?
Having that confidence in yourself, and just not having no for an answer, and not wanting to not push forward and someone look at you and be like, why didn't you do it?
Right.
You could have done it. I don't want to live life thinking, could I have done that, or should I have done that?
Yeah.
So
And with the training that you had, in sports, which probably helped while you were in the Marines, and then the training through the Marines. I don't know. You've been on several missions. I don't know if you've lost anybody or whatever, but some of that has to help too. Sometimes we don't count our blessings, right?
For sure.
And that's why we talk about journaling on gratitude. You start doing that, it builds that confidence. It builds that, and I'm sure that went through your head several times too.
definitely, as a Marine or anybody in the military, we have all lost battle buddies.
Man.
And you try to live life for them. They didn't have that opportunity. So I push forward every day for them, for my future, for my family, for my nieces, my nephews, my wife. I do it for them. I don't do it for myself.
Now, Sean, currently you're a recruiter for Grunt Style.
Correct.
How can a veteran who may be listening, or if you've got a friend who is a veteran, please forward our page to them. If you've got a veteran who's listening, how can they approach you about finding employment with Grunt Style?
Well, right now all our jobs are posted on our website at gruntstyle.com.
That's-
Bottom right-hand side where it says careers, you go there and see what jobs we have to offer. Something that Grunt Style, that maybe people don't know, is Grunt Style is 100% veteran-owned, and we're about 52% veteran-ran right now. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, you do have precedence over anybody else, which means if you apply for the job, you're guaranteed an interview. But we will go with the best candidate at the end of the day. I would like to hire every veteran that comes to me. So if you are looking for any kind of work, I have multiple positions available. Feel free to go on the site and apply for them, and I will shortly be giving you a call right after that.
and it's GRUNTSTYLE.com. Grunt Style. And there's stuff there. I mean, it's cool, right? You said it's the number one clothing.
It's the number one military clothing line in the United States, and at the same time, the structure in this facility and the way we run business it's outstanding. Most of us are veterans, and we work together.
That's awesome.
It's a military environment. We have a lot of structure, and we operate very well over there. And we're looking to bring on as many vets that want to apply.
And and folks, the clothing is not just for people who are military or ex-military or who have family. I mean, there's some good things. One of my favorite pieces is the Ameritux on there, right, for the guys. It's
For sure.
It's cool.
I've just posted the website on our Facebook page. You can find it by searching in Facebook, the number two bald for two bald guys and a microphone. You're listening to WHIWLP 101.3 FM in Harvard, Illinois. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We've been chatting just a little bit with Sean Grimes. You can go and listen to the whole story later, because we are Facebook Live. It will be stored on here to perpetuity. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Or until Facebook goes away, which I don't think will happen any day soon.
That's right. The only bad thing about that Grunt Style, Sean, they all kind of look like you. They're all in good shape. There's no fat guys, T-shirts in there.
They're all models.
Ah, okay.
And just for anybody that's interested in Grunt Style and you want to know what we do a little bit more in depth, feel free to come by our facility and we'll give you a tour of the facility and
That's awesome.
show you what we do there.
And where is that?
That's at 400 Fullerton Avenue in Carroll Stream, Illinois, 60188.
400 Fullerton Avenue in Carroll Stream. Ron, do you have anything for Sean?
Yeah, I sure do, guys. And Sean, I want to really compliment you on your fortitude and your perseverance. But there's one point that I think the listeners can really focus on. One thing that you said, that you don't worry about the future and you don't worry about what had happened in the past. And what I've learned is the two biggest thieves in our life is the fear of the future and the regrets of the past. And anytime we're living in either of those conditions, it's stealing our joy and happiness and activities from today. And boy, you are a fine example of someone that's overcome those two thieves in our lives.
That's it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And if you're ever in Greenville, Texas, look up Rancho Ron.
Amen. Salvador says, hi, Kent.
Hey,
What's up, Kent?
Sal. How are you, buddy?
Mike Bayer, am I saying that right?
Mike Bear, correct.
Bear, it's just that this video will be shared on our group page on Roll Call, Chicago Veteran Networking Group. Thanks, Mike. And Sean gave you a huge thumb up, and
Yeah.
you're a great guy. Peter Galt just said, very cool. And the state of Illinois does indeed allow employers to give preference to veterans during the hiring process. 330 ILCS 55, the Veterans Preference Act.
Beautiful.
So thanks, Peter, for joining in. You know, we never got an answer to the riddle of the day today. I'm concerned that Tom Sellers may be a little bit off his game.
Yeah, the Cubs did lose. But
Who makes it has no need of it. Who buys it has no use for it. Who uses it can neither see nor feel it. What is it? Have you got a guess? We'll let you answer today.
Time. Is it time?
It is not time.
Oh.
It is not air. Have we stumped the audience?
Uh-oh. Dum, dum, dum.
There is the internet. There is the internet.
Was Ron saying he was out in Texas?
Yeah.
Greenville, Texas.
Hey, Ron. I'm just letting you know that Grunt Style is also having their third Grunt Fest, and it's actually going to be held in San Antonio, Texas, here on the 12th of November. If you're close, that might be something you might want to look into, and if you need more information, feel free to hit me up on Facebook.
You know, I found there's no place too far if you have a lot of interest in it and you want to participate.
Outstanding.
So that's fantastic. We'll look that one up, Sean.
Thank you.
We have an answer. It is Tricia Stahl, my Navy buddy. She said I cheated. I Googled it. That's okay. That's not
That's
cheating.
not
I think
cheating.
Tom does that all the
Using
time.
the tools.
But you are correct. It is a coffin. It is a coffin. Who
Coffin.
makes it has no need of it. Who buys it has no use for it. Who uses it can neither see nor feel it. It is a coffin. Today at 10:30 this morning, I'm going to officiate the funeral of a very good man, a friend of mine, an Army veteran, Cliff Evenson. Cliff passed away last week at 93 years young. He was blind physically, but this man could see better than anybody I ever knew. He just had a vision for life and a love for life that was just. He was a wonderful man. I'm honored and blessed to be able to send him off into the next world.
Beautiful. And with that, it is
Oh no, technicals, timeouts, and the answer is
no.
technical fouls, Sean, are people you may have seen, and Ron, you're welcome to chime in. People who may have done something that just makes no sense. And we give them a technical foul, or you can give them a timeout, go sit in the corner and think about it. Or just the answer is no, like, could I wear this prom dress, Daddy? The answer is no. So we'll start out with Deke this morning. Deke, what do you got?
My technical foul goes out to. This is actually being a coach. I always like to take a look at coaches, but this technical foul goes out to college coaches. Even though you have adults playing for you, their competence can waver with what comes out of your mouth and at what time. I've had the opportunity to observe over the last couple weeks, at the college level, I've seen coaches belittle, berate, and just down dog their players during a game situation, not at practice. So this was during live action, and I think that there always comes a time, right, to coach, and there comes a time to let your players play. And the people who are the coaches who do that belittling, berating, are telling me that they don't have enough confidence in themselves and what they've done in practice to prepare their team. So my technical foul goes out to the coaches who belittle, berate, and overcoach during games at any level.
Coach me, coach. That's all I ask. Help me to improve task by task. Don't yell at me or scream or shout. It alarms me, so I'll shut you out. If I've done wrong, I'm the first to know. Teach me, coach me, help me grow. I am the student. I'll say it again. Coach me, coach. That's all I ask. Help me to improve task by task. So very appropriate. You look like you got a technical foul.
I got a technical foul, but you guys said no politics, so I'll keep those in the back door. But I will throw a technical foul out to good old Fox there for going 16-0 into the fourth quarter and then losing 17-16. I'm sorry. Technical foul.
Technical foul.
Ron?
All right.
Hey, Tim, I've got one.
Let's
All
hear
right.
you.
My technical foul is all the people that give a compliment to someone and then follow it with the word but.
With one T or two?
That's right.
With one. Because what they've done is just negate any of the compliment and they focus on the correction. I think those are two separate activities. If you're going to give them a compliment, let them enjoy the compliment. And then if you want to coach them on fixing something or taking care of it, do it at a little bit different time.
That is a great point. But no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, he's quick this morning. And, he wasn't quite so quick when he got in the car this morning. I had my best night's sleep ever last night. Normally,
a show, yeah.
I wake up at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock and several times on the morning of the show. And today I slept all the way till the alarm clock went off. And I found out, because I'm so used to being up earlier, that I set my alarm clock a little bit too late. So I'm going to give a technical foul to myself for not setting my alarm clock quite early enough to be on time.
I had probably the worst night of sleep last night
Yeah.
in a very long time, so that's ironic.
Right. No, at like 1:45, I'm like, oh my God, I'm late.
I woke up at 1:30, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what's going on? Why am I up so early? Then couldn't go back to sleep.
Right.
Well,
I slept like a baby.
In a diaper?
Woke, no, I woke up every 2 hours and cried.
did you get satisfied?
No.
That is it.
How's Jody doing, Ron?
Oh, she's doing great. In fact, we did get woken up by 2 in the morning when our blue heeler, Winnie, apparently thought there was some critter under the back deck, and she started barking and barking, and had to go out and find out what was going on.
And was there a critter?
I think there's a possum under the deck.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to have to find out a way to deal with that.
Maybe it's just plain possum.
Joni's doing great. We're having a fantastic time down here. But that's the one thing about sleep. Having been in the mattress industry, I used to lay awake at nights worrying if I was going to sell mattresses.
Did you sleep on one of your own mattresses?
I did.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Yeah, well, when I bought the company, I owned a water bed, and I felt so guilty. I went home and poked a hole in it and got rid of it the night I closed escrow.
There you go. Well, that brings out an excellent point. You're talking to the guy who took over Ford recently, and as he's coming in, when they're inviting him, came from Chrysler, I believe. I can't think of the guy's name right now. But they brought him in from the airport, and they brought him in, and all the cars in the executive parking lot were BMWs and Audis and everything else. And he walked in and said, "Here's the problem, fellas. You're not driving our product. All right, you're out there, selling one thing, saying one thing, doing something else." So I'll give them a technical foul. We're at the point of the show where we're going to wrap up some loose ends here, and I'd like to just give a shout out to this station. We have some of the work that WHIW-LP at Harvard, Illinois has done is just incredible. Coming up, you've got the Boogie Nights Radio every Friday night. DJ Rob and DJ Tommy bring a variety of dance music to the airwaves. Join them for music and dance. You want to dance at home? When was the last time you and your honey have just got up from the dinner table and danced a little bit? Put on Boogie Nights Radio and you might find out. And while we don't talk about politics, Democracy Now! Does. Democracy Now! Is a national daily independent award-winning news program hosted by journalists Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez. Airs every weekday from 5 to 6 p.m. Now, if they wanted to, they could probably air from midnight till 11:59, talking about some of the political things that are going on right now. Live from Starline, this fast-moving program that includes music and various discussion segments include Jay Hammersmith's Pause for the Pets and discussion around issues affecting our culture and our community. And I want to give a shout-out to Jay Scholes, our station manager here. What an amazing guy he is for putting together this lineup of great shows.
Absolutely, and it runs Jay's Lanes here in town. A little shout out there. Now, folks, keep in mind as you're listening to WHIW 101.3 FM that it is a non-for-profit radio station. So it's a 501c3. It's absolutely volunteer and very much like PBS. Anything, if you want to become part of the family, we always will take those. I don't know if you want to call them donations or memberships or whatever it may be.
Kent, I have those right in front of me.
Oh, cool.
But first, do you know the definition of a volunteer? That's somebody who's good for nothing.
Good for nothing.
You get a lot of great guys out here. But individual membership is $35 for $35
for the year.
For the year, for an entire year. Or the bronze, you receive a mention in the newsletter. Bronze level, you receive the station logo, mug, and all the benefits of previous level. That's $60 a year. Want to go for silver, or record a station ID and all the benefits of the previous levels, so you get a little advertisement in there. Or at the gold level, $365, that's $1 a day. Be a guest on a show and all the benefits of the previous levels. And then you have the diamond level, which is dinner with a station personality and all the benefits. Could you imagine having dinner with two bald guys and a microphone? That's $1,000 a year. But all this great programming comes because of our members. So feel free to go to the website, which is WHIWHarvard.com. Click on Donate, and you will find all of this information and the opportunity to get your information in and on board.
Absolutely, Ron. It's that time. We're going to say bid you a fond adieu. Any last thing you want to say?
We didn't get his real sign out, so we
give
got to
him a
have that
sign
sign
out,
out.
Yeah, we'll give that, but I realize now, I just had an epiphany of why you guys invited me to the show, because Small Ranching is a nonprofit operation also.
Not for profit, not by choice.
That's right.
Hey, well, signing off, this is Rancher Ron, feeding East Texas wisdom to a hungry herd of Americans.
Green Acres is a place to be. We'll see you, Ron. Give Jody a big hug for us.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too, my friend.
And Sean, any last words of wit and wisdom?
Live every day for what it is. You know, like I said, be blessed for today and thankful for yesterday, and pray for tomorrow.
Amen. I'll pray for a happy tomorrow for all of us. Deke, I know you've got something. I can just see it emanating out of that chrome dome.
That's gas.
Oh.
You know what, folks? We hope that this we've brought a little light to your Monday morning. We hope that we've
Hold on. One of my former athletes, one of my favorite guys, just said hi, Coach Jason Flaker. Jason, I condolences, Jason. I saw what happened to Green Bay yesterday. Jason is one of the biggest Green Bay Packer fans you'll ever know. And if you think I'm serious about condolences, I'm not. I am so happy Green Bay lost. But a couple other comments. Jerry Carl says, true dat. Tricia says, better a possum than a skunk under the porch. Shelley Lazarus. Shelley! The whistle drives my dog nuts. Blow the whistle one more time for Shelley. There we go. And Shelley, we'll see you on Thursday morning. And Joe Micallef, who was our guest last week.
Hello, mate.
Good night, mate. When will Tim be releasing his audiobook of poetry? Always great rhymes, and no one can recite as well as Tim. I'll thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Let's have an absolutely amazing day. Deke?
All right, folks. We hope that today we brought you a little bit of laughter. We had a little bit of fun. You can find us at WHIWHarvard.com or Facebook.com/2bald, the number 2bald. Or if you just want to see the shows, they're on Facebook.com/2bald archive. Absolutely.
The number 2bald, the word archive, because you can never be
Too bald.
And we are two bald
guys and a microphone. The folks, I got to apologize. I got wrapped up last week in a couple of things and did not get the website completed. It'll be done this week. It'll be out there. Keep an eye on our Facebook page as we'll get that out to the general public.
This will be a chapter in our new book, which will be titled
Unfinished Business.
Unfinished Business. Deke and I are co-authoring a book called Unfinished Business, subtitled How to Finish a Business.
How to finish a business. Folks, we are blessed to be able to spend Monday mornings with you. We hope that we brought you a little bit of confidence, maybe a couple of things that will help you move confidently through the week.
Our guest next week, November 4th, will be Jerry Paulson. Jerry Paulson is, it's another really good story. I thought I was busy, so I started talking to him. I feel like I'm not doing anything. But Jerry Paulson, another veteran who is just really vested in serving and taking care of humanity.
That's it. Sean, it's been a blessing to have you here. Anytime you're out in Harvard at 6 a.m. on Monday morning, feel free to stop by.
Will do.
We always have a microphone for you. Folks, just outstanding stuff, and you can follow Sean Grimes on Facebook. You can learn more about what he does at gruntstyle.com.
Gruntstyle.com.
Where he's a recruiter there, right?
And you can also find me on LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn.
My son Brandon just said, great show, guys, and he wants to come out to Grunt Style and buy every shirt that you have.
Come on down.
They are cool shirts.
Yeah, you got a baby coming. You're not buying every shirt, brother.
That's it. So, folks, we appreciate everything that you do. We appreciate who you are, and that's it for us this week.
Now get off the bench
and
get back in the game. We are two bald guys and a microphone, and we do approve this message.